Hi everyone, it's Sammy. Welcome back. I wanted to give you my initial feedback on Season 2 Tombs of the Erased. Now, this is the first major update in almost a year, actually more than a year. I think we have to go all the way back to February of 2024. And I have to say, this season has been a bit of a surprise for me. It's been a lot of fun. If you talk to anybody or if you go on live streams or on social media, I think the most term used is, wow, last Epoch is fun. So in this video, I'm going to give you my impressions, my playthrough, what I experienced, what I like, what I think still needs to be improved on. But please remember, this is literally, I don't know, 20 hours or so of gameplay into Season 2. So please keep that in mind while we're going through this video. All right, so I have two characters. I have a level 75 Lich, and I have a level 50 plus 51 Paladin, which I'm currently grinding and I'm planning on maining. You probably already know this. Paladin, it looks like it's the class to beat this season. But before we get into some more specifics, I want to kind of take this in order of my experience. And the first thing I want to talk about is the campaign. The campaign in Last Epoch is not a juggernaut. It's not difficult at all. It is a campaign that you could probably, some people are finishing it in 2-3 hours. Obviously, depending on your skill set and whether you're a type of person that smells the roses kind of thing when you're campaigning and you're really not about speed racing. That's me. I'm not in it to try to beat a clock. I like to progress through the campaign at a normal speed. Even someone like me, who I consider myself to be very slow at leveling up characters and going through the campaign, even me on my first day of playing Last Epoch, although it was a very long day, we did a 12-hour stream, I was able to finish the campaign and get into the end game on the first day. So if you're looking for a campaign that's not super difficult and can be done fairly quickly, even for the slow players like myself, this is the game for you. I do want to say there's no question about it. Everyone's having fun. The question though is a lot of other things that I'm hearing, or the framing around the game right now, is the fact that I'm hearing it's too easy. And I kind of wanted to talk about that for a little bit, because I do feel, first of all, let's quantify that response. Yes, the game is easy in the campaign, and if you go into the end game and you don't corrupt, if you don't empower your monoliths, the game is easy. But the game gets more difficult once you start corrupting your monoliths, empowering your monoliths, and you're getting into the 4, 5, 1,000 corrupted monoliths. This is when the game gets to another level and the difficulty increases. So there are options in the game for you to make it more difficult. So when I hear the term, the game is too easy, my initial thought is, okay, these people aren't really corrupting their monoliths and ramping up the difficulty level in the game. But I do understand hearing that comment, because it is true. When you're initially going through the campaign and the end game without corrupting, the game is easy. And this is something that I think 11th Hour Games needs to look at. Do they want to keep it? Because it's a balance. The reason why a lot of people are having a lot of fun with Last Epoch, I think, is attributed to the fact that people can blast through the game. Now, that also comes with a negative, and that is that a lot of people don't want super easy games. So it's this balance that I think 11th Hour Games has something to think about and decide on. Now, yes, like I said earlier, you can make the game difficult by corrupting and empowering your monoliths. I get that. But do you want to keep the game simple in the beginning? I guess that is kind of what I'm trying to say. And that is something that 11th Hour Games has to decide. Now, there are certain aspects of the game when you're going through the campaign and you're going in non-corrupted monoliths and through the timelines in the beginning, where you have the nemesis and the champions, which can be erratic and so-called more dangerous. So there are elements and there are certain areas in the campaign where, you know, it's a little bit more difficult. But I think what I would like to see is some sort of progression, even before players corrupting their monoliths and empowering them, is some sort of level spike in the game. Now, whether they do that throughout the campaign and gradually ramp it up as we're getting closer to finishing the campaign, I don't know if that's an option. For example, in Diablo 2, you have the different levels of difficulty and you're replaying the whole game at a different level. I don't know if that's something players would like. And this is a very, very finicky decision to make, because it may throw the balance off, because there's no denying a lot of people are having fun. I have to say, I was a little bit surprised with these numbers. This is Last Epoch's concurrent player count. And as you can see, 145 was the 24-hour peak. But I can't believe that when they launched season 2, the top was 150,000. That's how many people played it. Now, I don't know if it's a mix of the fact that Path of Exile 2 is in its early access, so there's a big chunk of the player base, a huge chunk of the player base that is staying there and just doesn't find Last Epoch appealing, and they just happen to launch season 2, and some people are celebrating a holiday, Easter, for those of you that celebrate Easter. So a lot of people have a lot of family commitment. Some people travel to go spend time. So that might have played into it. I guess only time will tell. But I have to say, I'm a little shocked that it was only 150,000. We were speculating on my stream leading up to season 2 that the numbers might have gotten north of 200, north of 250. Some people were saying 300 plus. And we were actually contemplating, could they hit 500,000? But that is nowhere near. And as you can see, this is February of 2024, when season 1 or 1.0, I forget what they called it, you guys correct me, they had 264,000 back then. And it was not as meaty of a content drop, if you ask me, in my opinion, compared to season 2. There is a lot in season 2, and we're going to get a little bit into it in a second, but that is nowhere near what they hit with season 2. But I have to say, I'm a little bit shocked. I did think, I was one of those people that I thought they were going to beat this 264 when they did their last major content drop. So I'm a little bit shocked. I would love to hear what you guys think on why this happened. Quality of life, and there's a lot, but I'll just highlight a couple. Their stash system is unbelievable, and I just wanted to highlight one thing, and that is the fact that you can configure each stash tab item where you can make it a priority. You can literally, it's a loot filter within your stash system. It's so unbelievable, where you can put weapons, two-handed weapons, and it even gets it down to the type of weapon. You can do idols, right? And again, you can break it down by idol. You can do accessories, so you can just make one tab just for amulets, and you can configure it on rarity type. You can break it down on legendary potential, 1, 2, 3, etc. Weaver's Will. If you're only looking, if you want to make class specific stash tabs, let's say you're grinding multiple characters like myself, you can make tabs just for a mage, you can make tabs just for a primalist, and within that, you can break it down even further. You get my point. This is state of the art. Okay. And it even goes into item faction requirement. You can color code, you can put unique tab icons. This thing is a piece of brilliance and just unbelievable how they continue to elevate the quality of life. Target farming in this game is just unbelievable. So I'll go back to you have an option in the game to either join the Circle of Fortune or the Merchant's Guild. We're not going to get into it. I always play Circle of Fortune. I keep saying one day I'm going to join the Merchant's Guild, but I haven't done it because of all the issues that apparently are happening in the Merchant's Guild. So until that gets ironed out, I'm not going to play it. But just the things that you can target farm in this game is unbelievable. Now, this was already in the game prior to Season 2. And as you can see, these are my prophecies, which allow you to target farm gear, weapons, accessories, idols, all that fun and jazz, right? But what they added to Season 2 is the Woven faction. This is the end game faction. And what I wanted to show you is, again, this allows you to further target farm stuff. And they've added the Weaver tree, which again allows you to stop things from happening, increase things from happening. And I'm generalizing there. But really, the things that I love about here, again, is these, if I call them nodes, these things here where, for example, when I get here, it's called Commoner's Riches, and you place a weapon or jewelry item to imprint it in this slot to have a small chance to draw a pile of similar items when killing enemies in your regular echoes. So you place a weapon or jewelry that you want and need, put it in here, you imprint it in here, and then every time you kill enemies in regular echoes, some of this stuff similar to what you imprinted here will drop. And there are several of these in the Weaver tree. And they're just here, again, target farming, allowing you to hone in on what you want, which facilitates and gets to you crafting and customizing your character. And all these other things, which, I could be here for an hour going through all these, but just another amazing thing that they've added to last Epoch. So those are my initial takes. Again, guys, this is on like 20 hours of gameplay, so it's very fresh, it's very new. I'm probably going to do one more feedback video on last Epoch once I've literally almost done everything in the game. We've done corrupted monoliths and all that kind of stuff. We're going to fight hopefully Uberoth. I don't know about Uberoth, but we'll see. But I gotta say, my initial take is this game is very, very fun. They've done a lot of great things. They've added more layers to basically keep player retention and players playing the game. This is one of the issues I had with last Epoch in 1.0 back in 2024. I lost interest in the game literally an hour into getting to the end game. There was just the same repetitive stuff. This Season 2 has added to the things that you can do, the things you can concentrate on. There's a lot of purpose in certain things that you can do in this game. And target farming, crafting, the content, the Weaver content, the Woven content is more interesting. It's a lot of fun. Going into the cemeteries of the erased, for example, it's a lot of fun going in there because it's fresh and it's new. I love the fact that we can set goals for ourselves and target farm things in order to help make our character stronger. That is good. The class diversity in this game is unbelievable. Yes, there's always a couple of builds that rise to the top. It looks like the Paladin is going to be the one this season. We'll see. That's my initial take so far. We'll see how things pan out. But that's one of the problems in this game. There's so many good builds to play that you're playing one build, you hear about another one, and you want to go play that. So that's a good thing to have, but it's also a problem because you're always wanting to play something else. I don't know if that makes any sense. At least that's how I feel. But the easiness of the game is kind of the takeaway of this video. I don't know what 11th Hour Games is going to do. They don't want to kill the fun. I believe that's why a lot of people are having fun, because all these things align with each other and make the experience really, really engaging and fun. Now, the question is whether this can maintain players for not 1 week, not 2 weeks. That is going to be a very key thing that I'm going to be focusing on in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Are we going to see a player drop off when people start saying, okay, I've done everything. This game's easy. I'm bored. I'm really curious to see how this pans out in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. That's what I'm going to be interested in seeing. But I really do think 11th Hour Games does have to decide whether they want to keep this game so easy in the campaign and in the beginning of the monoliths. That's something that obviously as game designers they're going to have to choose, or maybe they don't have to choose and they like it the way it is. We'll see. But you let me know what you think. Do you think this game is too easy? Does it need to be more difficult? A little bit. I don't want it increased to the point where people aren't having fun. And there is my dilemma. I'm kind of was hemming and hawing about raising this up, but everyone that I've spoken to and I've watched or on social media, the term easy comes into the debate all the time with this game. So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, if you can like, comment, and subscribe to my content, I would really appreciate the support. It doesn't cost you anything, but it would mean the world to me. And as always, thank you for watching, everybody. We'll hope to see you next time. Take care. The opinions expressed in this video are mine and solely mine. Healthy debate is always encouraged. Hate is never welcomed. So get over it.